1. Female, 16 at the time, tiny frame, 5'2", barely 90 pounds. Baby face makes me look 12. At the time, I was at the cadets. I'd go there right after high school as I lived 45 to 60 minutes away. So from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., I'd be at the cadets, and I'd get home around 10 p.m. Wearing the standard Army cadet uniform, coat, gloves, and beret. You get the idea. My home is a street away from the bus, so I had always felt relatively safe going home that late. This is my itinerary home. Cross the street twice to get to opposing corner, walk down until the first intersection, turn right, and my home is the 5th one to my right. See? Real close, familiar neighborhood. Not much to be worried about. There are 2 unsuccessful clubs right in front of the bus stop. I say unsuccessful because this place has changed vocations so many times in so little time. Cafe, restaurant, club, lounge. Nothing lasts in there, but there's always someone trying. I've never had any problem with the people that go there, as it is a friendly neighborhood. So, even then, I wasn't worried. There is a pharmacy right next to those 2 lounge clubs, and a large parking lot which I can go across to go home. To add to the context, note this happened in the middle of winter in Canada, where it's dark outside after 5 p.m, so by 10 p.m, it might as well be in the middle of the night. So I got off the bus and wanted to go to bed early. I always carry a small travel toothbrush and tiny travel toothpaste tub with me, so I decided I would brush my teeth during my 5-minute walk home and save those minutes for extra sleep. I had my toothbrush handle in my hand, so it would look like I was eating a lollipop, and cheerfully walked home, very content with my genius idea. So, I had only crossed the street once when I see a car driving off the parking lot of the club. The parking lot is right in front of the club, facing the street, right across the bus stop, so I was very visible. Nothing unusual here, so I keep an eye on it, as I am wary of my surroundings by habit, and was self-conscious because of what I was doing. I mean, who the hell brushes their teeth while walking outside? I saw the car leave, so I kept walking while humming to myself, and secretly brushing my teeth. I've still only crossed the street once at this point. The car has made a U-turn and is now slowing down right by my side. Unexpected? Shit, he's rolling down his window to talk to me. It's a guy in his early 20s, handsome, well-groomed and fit. He's not wearing his winter coat in his car. Only a classy shirt, so I noticed. He asks for directions. I have a freaking toothbrush in my mouth. Shit, I panic slightly. I can't very well spit out right in front of someone. I close my eyes and force myself to swallow. Dear God, this is embarrassing. I subtly remove the toothbrush and hide it in my pocket, careful not to have it touch the fabric inside. I finally answer his question and start walking again. He keeps up with me and starts asking questions. Do you live far? Nah, I live real close by. Do you want a ride? I politely decline, starting to get wary by now. You don't have to be wary of me. I'm not dangerous. To be honest, if I had been stupid, I would have said yes. The guy is handsome, he is friendly, he doesn't give a creep vibe at all. The kind of guy you want to trust. He obviously has money, he has a nice car, the kind you just want to sit in to feel the rich interior. It is winter and cold outside. The roads are frozen and it's a bit difficult to walk. You have to be careful not to slip on the ice. I am an insecure, scrawny teen who looks like a kid, and I'm getting this sort of attention from this kind of guy. Sweet. Warning. That's the thing. I look like a fucking kid. Why is this guy insisting on having me get in his car? I'm starting to get nervous, and I'm making up excuses. He offers to have some fun at his place. I only now realize this didn't mean playing video games. I was pretty innocent for a 16-year-old. But I declined, saying my mom is waiting for me. Half lie. She won't go to sleep without me in the house, but knows I sometimes miss my bus and have to catch the later bus an hour later. He offers a ride again. I tell him it's not in his way. When he asked for directions, he asked for the bridge, which is where I just came from. He says it's no problem at all and insists. I start freaking out at this point, and decide I've been polite enough and bolt out of there. I speed walk through the pharmacy's parking lot. He can't follow me past the parking lot. There are cement blocks to stop cars from getting out that particular way. He follows me and tries to keep talking to me. I ignore him and keep rushing. Toothbrush long forgotten in my pocket. He follows me until he can't, then speeds back to the street and tries getting to me from the other side by going around the block. I don't fully come out of the parking lot and hide in the shadows of a building. I see him look for me, give up, and speed the hell out in the opposite direction he had originally inquired about. That night I decided to start bringing the knife I use in cadet expeditions with me every time I had to go home late. Years later, when I finally got a cell phone, I kept that story close to mind and would pre-dial 911 just in case and keep my knife nearby. I never had to use either one, thankfully. I can't help but wonder what his intentions were. Rape? Kidnapping? Am I being paranoid? Probably not. Note, I am not advising you to bring knives with you. Actually, I had to stop bringing it with me because, as my boyfriend pointed out, it is illegal and I would get in heaps of trouble for having it on me. Though I'm not worried about being searched by the police. I am a cute tiny piece of a woman, not at all what you would consider suspicious or police search-worthy. Also, it could be used against me if it did come into a situation where defense was needed. Hey, I'm tiny and not all that strong. Edit. Since I don't have my knife with me anymore, I've used a different sort of prevention. My attitude. I am still always wary of my surroundings. I've been followed and flashed by creeps a few other times, and I noticed it was mainly times I was overly happy, and thus looked more innocent and young. So now I have a better poker face, a better posture. My way of walking is decisive and firm. I am aware of my surroundings, and if I feel someone is suspicious, I make sure they know I'm onto them by making assertive but non-threatening eye contact. It's worked like a charm so far. If I still get into trouble, hasn't happened yet, I will use the trick I've learned here. Act batshit crazy. 2. Back in the 8th grade, probably halfway through the school year, I received a phone call from an unknown caller. Usually I would not answer for a number I didn't recognize, or sometimes I would do so in an accent, but I would always hang up after a second or two. Things changed, however. When the second I answered, I heard a man say my full name in a questioning tone, like if he was asking for confirmation that this was me. Being just a kid and thinking this was one of my parents' friends, or someone I could talk to, I told him that that was me. Big mistake, but I didn't know at the time. That first phone call I don't remember much of, except that he hung up not long after I said that was me. Some time passed, maybe less than a week, when I got an unknown call again. I didn't answer, and then I kept getting spam calls. So I finally answered, and this guy was asking me about what shows I like to watch. I got the idea that maybe I shouldn't be talking to this guy, so I just hung up. Not much longer, another couple calls came in, until I said to stop calling me, and he responded with hanging up mid-conversation is rude. My dad heard me and asked who I was talking to, so I told him that I didn't know and handed him the phone. My dad asked who this was, and to stop calling my number in his angry dad tone. Then he got a confused face for a second, before getting really angry and shouting at them, before then abruptly hanging up. My dad later told me that this person knew my father's name, Carlos, and told him, "Don't be so angry, Carlos," before hanging up. Pretty soon these calls would happen at least once a day, and I would almost always hand the phone to my dad for him to yell at the guy. We told our friends and family to stop if they were prank calling me. We tried getting police involved, and we also contacted my middle school, saying that there was a guy being creepy with me. The guy never called during school hours, and he usually would call at first when I was home alone, but soon switched it up to calling around the time my father got home from work. This guy sounded young. For a long time we thought my uncles or their friends were playing pranks on us. He sounded maybe mid to late 20s, and sounded sort of Latino. Never had an angry tone, and never said anything malicious. But he was a stalker, and he knew the names of my parents, sister, my dogs, some cousins, and my grandparents. He never called when we had company over, and it was never after like 8 p.m. At one point I was sitting in my room and got a call. By this point, it was nearing the last few weeks of school, and because this guy never said anything bad, the police said there was nothing to do. I just answered the phone and asked what he wanted. I remember clear as day, he was listing off video games. Red Dead Redemption, Modern Warfare 2, Halo 3, etc. I looked to my disk stand and saw he was reading off the list in order that my games were, top to bottom. I stood up and looked out the window, but nobody was there. After the list was done, I just stood there and he told me something about me having good taste in games, and that we should play sometime. At this moment, I was scared shitless. I cried and called my dad. He came home early and we realized, like idiots, that we could just change my number. We changed my number and I purged my Facebook account. And we set all our accounts to private. Maybe 6 months later, we moved, and after changing the number, I never got any calls from this guy. The reason I came to tell the story is because I've been getting unknown numbers calling me for the past couple days, and I'd never answer them anymore. But telling my girlfriend about it, she reminded me about the guy. So, I will be changing my number soon as a precaution. Any questions I will answer, because there are a few stories I left out due to length. Edit. Additional story. It was one of the last calls. On a night where we were driving through to my great-grandma's house to visit her, because she only lives with her brother and she gets lonely. At this time, due to the stalker, we didn't really post where online we were going or what we were doing until we already got home. And unless we were meeting with a group, we didn't text or call them about it. Just some precautions we would take. So we go over to have dinner, and things are going great. I remember getting a call and I ignored it. And the second time I just handed my dad the phone. My dad went outside of the house to talk to the guy, and while I don't know the details of that conversation, it was a long conversation. Maybe 10+ minutes, probably the longest call with the guy. My dad came inside and looked upset, probably because he felt he was powerless. We all did. Very upsetting times. But we didn't want to scare my great-grandma, so we just continued with conversation and eating dinner, and stayed for a bit until it was time to head home. The guy called on our way back home, calling my dad Carles, and my parents pleading to give them a name or something. My phone was on speaker, so I remember this conversation. The guy is trying to ask how my day was, and I told him to shut up, and that I don't want to talk to him. The call drops, because we are driving through a hill area with bad connection. A couple minutes later he called again, and a few calls until we answered. As always, he seemed flustered but not angry when we would hang up, and he said how that it's rude to hang up mid-conversation. My dad told me to hang up and told me to turn my phone off, so I did. Later, when we got home, and it was nearing bedtime, I got one call and I walked to my parents' room and answered it, putting it on speaker and throwing it on the bed. The guy asked something akin to, "Why was your phone off, buddy?" And my dad said to leave us alone. We're tired of this. I remember him saying that. And the guy said that we probably lost connection through the hill, so he forgives us. My mom said, "Wait, what hill?" And he said the one to Lita's. That is the name of my great-grandma. Best we can make up of him knowing that is because my parents posted photos of us hanging out there when we got home, and he was lurking their profile. But how he knew about the hill is beyond us. 3. Me, 10 to 11-year-old, male, location, New England. So I remember one day after school, me and 3 of my friends were playing 2-on-2 football out in my front yard. It was winter time, but not that cold out. And I remember it was still light out, but getting dark. So it was probably around 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. We didn't live on a busy street, so not a lot of cars would drive by. But when they did, we usually recognized them as somebody who lived in our area. That made it a little weird when we saw the same red van drive by slowly 4 times in a row, within like a 10-minute span. You know how most cars might go 15 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour on those side residential streets? Well, this guy wasn't even doing 5 miles per hour. The first couple of times he drove by, we didn't really notice and didn't think much about it, as this was the time of day when a lot of people started coming home from school and work. And besides, we were involved in our little football game. But every time the van drove by, and like I said, he kept driving by real slow, we saw the guy in the van looking out at us, as if he was checking us out. After that 3rd and 4th time, we started to get a little freaked out about it. What is that guy doing? Why is he checking us out? Why does he keep driving by real slow, looking out at us? Having driven by 4 times now, we definitely got a good look at him. He was a younger guy in his 20s, unshaven, unkempt, dressed all messy. Me and one of my friends were definitely freaked out and thought we should go back inside. But my other couple of friends wanted to finish the game and argued that it would be dark soon, so if we went in now we'd never get to finish the game. Also, they reminded me that my dad was home, so what's the worst that can happen? Besides, the van's probably not coming back again anyway. We were stupid kids, and the 2 that wanted to stay out were definitely hard-headed, and they ended up convincing us to stay outside and finish our game. Wrong decision. We had barely completed one more play when that same red van started creeping down our street again, and this time it seems he's driving even slower. But instead of slowly driving by us like every other time, this time the van stops right in front of us. My heart stops and I freeze in my tracks. My other friend, the one who wanted to go in, took a few steps back towards the house, ready to run if anything happened. That's when the guy in the van rolls down the window and started talking to us. We could hear what he said, and while I was still frozen in my tracks, the hard-headed friends who insisted on staying outside to finish the game actually went up to the van to see what the guy wanted. That's when my dad came outside. "What do you want?" he angrily said to the guy in a way to let the guy know he was right there and don't even think about messing with my kids. He said something back to my dad, and my dad said something back to him, and ended up just driving off. But not before driving by one more time. This time he didn't stop though, so apparently my dad saved us from a creeper. Or so we thought. Now this is where the story gets weird. I was actually the guy driving the van. One Christmas break from college, I got a job delivering flowers, holiday arrangements to make a few extra bucks. I had this one delivery to Mrs. Clark on 125 Side Street. Drove down the street and back again, slowly looking for her house. Didn't see it. So I drove down and back yet again, trying to find it. Still nothing. These kids were on the side of the street, where the house should have been. They were at like house number 119 or something, while I'm looking for 125. But the road curved shortly after their house. And then there was a little wooded area. And then the next thing you know, you're looking at houses with addresses in the 130s. Having no luck finding the house on my own, I pulled up to the kids and asked if they knew where the Clarks lived, hoping one of them would say, "That's me," or "They live right there." The kids didn't hear me at first, them being on the passenger side of the van. So one of them came up to hear what I was saying. That's when the dad came out and angrily asked me what I wanted. I was just innocently delivering flowers and couldn't find the house. Apparently, though, people often ordered flowers for family and friends but got their addresses slightly wrong a lot, making some houses basically impossible to find. Looking back, though, I can definitely see how bad it looked. Nondescript red van has driven by several times slowly, and then tries to talk to kids playing in the front yard. That's the thing about a lot of these stories, though. A lot of times people are creeped out about something that may have actually just been nothing. Maybe those kids and dad really thought I was up to no good. And we'll even post that story here someday. Hey everyone, Hellfreezer here. And thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 209. Thanks very much to everyone who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Especially the kind folks who I contacted after, who I'm sure have probably forgotten they even posted some of these stories, and then out of the blue they get my little message, "Hello, would you mind if I used your story? Thank you." Things do seem to be picking up slightly, ever so slightly, on Let's Not Meet, so hopefully that trend continues. But even if it doesn't, there's plenty of other stories and things I can be looking at. I mean, that's one of the things I've been playing around with on Sundays. So, well, I think we'll be okay, at least story-wise, for a little while. Okay, where are we? This is a Monday, isn't it? Well, actually, it's a Friday at 9:30 at night, but we'll pretend it's Monday anyway, because that's when you'll be hearing this. So I'll give you the quick rundown. I think we're on the usual this week. I think we'll have subscriber stories tomorrow, True Scary on Wednesday, and not sure about Thursday. I'll try and get a glitch together. Right now I've got no stories, but I'll send out and see what I can get. If not, I'll have something else up though. And Friday, paranormal, plenty of paranormal. We're sorted for them, thankfully. And yeah, we're good for a TIFU this Saturday. Okay, and with that, I think I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.